Hey guys, it's Val and Kate. Today we are going to be doing a level 1-2. There are going to be some challenges, but definitely rooms for modification. We're going to go get started standing at the front of our mat. And we're going to do a breathing exercise. So I'm going to actually have Kate face us just so you can see it, but you'll be facing the top of your mat. Hands are going to be down by the sides. And at the top of our inhale, we're going to reach our arms up overhead. And at the top of our inhale, we're going to pause. So I'm going to cue you when to exhale, but if that takes too long and you'd like to breathe before that, please go ahead and breathe. What we're going to do is we're going to help to increase our lung capacity. So inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Pause at the top of your inhale. Keep your arms lifted. Draw the belly in. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale, hands are going to come all the way down by the sides. Nice. Again, take a nice deep breath in. Hold at the top of your inhale. Exhale, arms are going to come down by the sides. A few more times. Nice, deep, full breath in. See if you can slow your inhale. Pause at the top here. Draw that rib cage in. Exhale, hands come down to the sides. Inhale, rise up and hold. When we hold our breath, we help to increase our lung capacity, slow our heart rate down. Exhale, hands come down by the sides. We also help to send nice fresh blood to our heart and our brain. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Last time we're going to inhale, reach up, hold here, longest hold yet. Exhale, arms down by the sides. This time let's go ahead, take a nice deep breath in, reach the arms up overhead, interlace the hands above the head, shine the palms up towards the sky. Take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, let's hinge it to the right. Hips go to the left. Inhale back to center and exhale to the opposite side. Inhale back to center, and on your exhale, let's find a forward fold. Let's keep the feet hip-width distance wide here. Bend the knees, nice generous bend in the knees, and just kind of ragdoll hang. Notice how she has a nice bend in her knees to keep her back nice and relaxed. When we straighten our legs, we actually round through the low back, and it causes tension on our spine. So bend in the knees, belly on the thighs, and then relax the head, relax the jaw, unclench the teeth. Bring some movement into that neck. Let's take one more deep breath in, and on our exhale, we're going to release our hands down to the floor. Take our left hand, place it beneath the gaze, bend the left leg, straighten the right leg, and reach the right arm all the way up towards the sky. Really pull that right shoulder back and away from the ears. And then exhale the right hand down, and the left arm is going to reach up nice and high. Open up that chest, reach the left fingertips up. That right knee has a bend in it. The left leg is straight. And then exhale, let's bring that left hand down. Inhale to halfway lift. We're going to create a length in the spine. And on the exhale, we're going to sink down into our forward fold. We're going to plant our hands, and we're going to step back into our plank position. Let's just hold this plank position here. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Notice that her shoulders are in line with her hips. Her hips are nipping down, and they're not too high up. Her gaze is down at the floor to protect the neck. And on her exhale, she's going to lower all the way down to her belly, keeping the elbows nice and close to her sides. She's going to untuck the toes, and she's going to come into a Cobra Pose. Lift the chest away from the floor. Option to extend the arms all the way if that feels okay on your low back. And some of you might even push the tops of the feet into the floor, lift the thighs off the mat, and find an upward facing dog. Let's tuck the toes and lift the hips and come back into our downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet here. Again, generous bend in the knees for these beginning down dogs. It's going to help you to push that tailbone nice and high to the sky. Her neck is nice and straight. Her shoulders are relaxed down her back. And her elbow creases are shining forward. On the inhale, let's lift the heels nice and high. On the exhale, let's sink the heels all the way down to the floor. Nice. Inhale, lift the heels nice and high. Exhale, melt them down. Inhale the heels nice and high. Bend the knees, gaze in between the hands, step or hop to the front of the mat. So your first couple times might be a few steps. And then she's going to relax down into her forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reach the arms up overhead. And on your exhale, find a back bend, maybe cactus the arms. Shine the chest up towards the sky. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hand, step it back into that plank position, and we're coming for our Chaturanga. So maybe this time you lower halfway down. Inhale into your upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. I'm going to show you that one more time so you can see a little bit of modifications that we can do. Inhale, lift the heels nice and high. Bend the knees, gaze in between the hands, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, find your back bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back into your plank position. An option to find knees as you go through your Chaturanga. Drop the knees down, exhale down, inhale into your cobra, and then tuck the toes and lift the hips and find your downward facing dog. That is our Vinyasa flow. Your Vinyasa flow is always optional. If at any time you want to skip your push-up and do your back bend and head straight to down dog, that is definitely an option. Let's take a nice deep breaths here. Take time to slow that heart rate down. It's very important during your yoga practice that you find relaxation even when we're doing very active poses. It helps to strengthen your concentration to use your breath. Take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to bring the knees down towards the mat, but hover them above the ground. This is called bear pose. And on the exhale, we're going to lift the hips all the way back up and find our down dog. Nice. Inhale into bear. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to bear and hold here. Really hover those knees. Pull the belly away from the floor for 3. Tabletop in 2. And 1. Let's drop the knees down onto the mat, untuck the toes, and let's take some cat-cows. So inhale, drop the belly, gaze forward. Notice how her belly sinks down, her tailbone lifts up. Exhale, round the spine, push the floor away, tuck the chin to the chest. Move through this following your own breath, your own movement, and take whatever feels nice and organic to your body movement-wise. Maybe it's some circles with your hips. Maybe you sit it all the way back on a child's pose on your exhale. Do whatever feels good for your body today. We're trying to feel into the spine and the hips and the shoulders and the neck. Most importantly, we're trying to get that flexion and extension in our spine. Making sure when you're doing your cow pose where your belly drops, that you're really pushing your chest through your shoulders and not just throwing your head back. We want to make sure that we're really getting movement in the spine. Go ahead, exhale. And not just using our head to kind of take that motion for us. This is more so for the spine. So let's take 2 more deep breaths here. And on our next inhale, we're going to extend that right leg out nice and long behind us. Bring those toes down towards the floor. And then we're going to take that, but lifted, so you're just pointing them down towards the floor. Nice. Pull that belly away from the floor and then lift that left arm forward as if you're about to shake someone's hand, bicep by the ears. On the exhale, we're going to bring the knee towards the elbow, round the spine, hug it in. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, crunch, round, really tuck that forehead towards the knee. Nice. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hug it in. This time we're going to inhale, lengthen, and hold here. Bend that right leg. See if you can reach back with the left hand and grab a hold of that foot. Maybe you can grab a bind. If you can't grab a bind, it's okay. We're just going to reach back for that foot. Nice. We're going to keep that right leg lifted. Bring the left hand back down towards the floor. We're going to extend that right leg out nice and long behind us and come into a modified side plank. So that right arm is going to reach all the way up towards the sky. Take the right fingertips and reach them all the way towards the front of your mat. Feel that stretch all the way from the fingertips all the way down to that right leg. Beautiful. Lift that right arm nice and high to the sky. Lift that right leg away from the floor. And then the same thing here. Maybe you can bend that right leg, reach back with that right hand, and grab a bind here. Totally optional. Beautiful. 1 more deep breath in, and on your exhale, let's bring that right knee down to join the left, the right hand down to join the left. And we'll head into our second side. Let's take that left leg extended out nice and long. Pulling up from that inner thigh, that right arm is going to reach forward, bicep by the ears. Nice deep breath in on the exhale, round the spine, hug it in, elbow to knee. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, crunch it in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch, bring that forehead towards the knee. Inhale to lengthen and hold here. Maybe bend that left leg, reach back with the right hand. See if you can grab that bind here. If you have that foot, kick into your hand, shine that chest forward. And then keeping that left leg lifted, we're going to bring that right hand down to the ground. Extend that left leg out nice and long. We're coming into that modified side plank, so that left arm is going to reach up nice and high. We're going to keep that left foot down on the ground for a moment while we take that left arm and reach it towards the front of the room. Feel that stretch all the way through the left side of the body, really reaching with the fingers. And then take that left hand, extend it all the way up towards the sky. Lift that left foot away from the floor. And then same thing here. Maybe you can bend that left leg, reach back with that left hand, and take your bind. Push the chest out. One more deep breath in, and on your exhale, let's bring that left knee back down onto the mat. Let's bring the big toes to touch, knees out nice and wide, and we're going to sink it down for a child's pose. Let that forehead rest down towards the mat. The wider your knees are, the easier it'll be for your hips to sink a little closer to your heels. But if you find that your chest gets really low to the ground, maybe you bring your knees in a little bit, making sure that the neck is nice and relaxed. She's not gazing forward. Her head is facing down. Hands are reaching towards the front of the mat, but relaxed. And use this opportunity to slow that breathing down. Take some nice deep Ujjayi breaths, which is when we inhale in through the nose and exhale out through the nose. Helps to build heat in the body, and it helps to create a nice audible sound for your rhythm for your practice. We're going to take 2 more deep breaths here. And at the end of that second exhale, taking your time to get there. Never rushing, never forcing, always flowing. We're going to start to tuck the toes under and lift the hips up and come back into our downward facing dog. Let's inhale that right leg nice and high. And exhale, step it through, low lunge. Plant that foot in between the hands. On her inhale, she's going to gaze forward, puff the chest up, and on the exhale, she's going to straighten that right leg and find a pyramid pose. Now, option here to step that left foot up if you need to kind of move through this. She's going to go through it on her inhale, shining chest forward. Exhale, straightening that leg. So we're working into that right hamstring. Move through it with your breath, your own movement. It's okay if that right leg doesn't go completely straight. This is early on in class. We want to warm up those hamstrings nice and gently. So take that to the extent that that hamstring will allow you to. Keep breathing here. Nice. A few more deep breaths like this. Really bringing that forehead to the knee. Notice how she does that on her pyramid pose. Her knee stays stacked on top of that ankle when it bends. And the next time you find that pyramid pose, we're going to hold here. Now, if you have yoga blocks, you can always place your hands on blocks. And if you have a hard time having that back foot be straight, you can always step it up and shorten your stance. Sometimes that allows for that right knee to straighten a little bit more comfortably. Think about pulling the right hip back, left hip forward. And breathing here. Find those nice deep breaths. Think about using your exhale to sink deeper into the spaces that maybe you feel that tension, which is most likely your hamstrings. A few more deep breaths here. And on your next exhale, taking your time to get there, we're going to find a low lunge. So we're going to bend into that right knee. Maybe slide your left foot back a little bit and make sure all 10 toes are pointing forward. The left hand is going to plant to the inside of the right foot, and the right hand is going to extend itself all the way up towards the sky. Now notice how her shoulders relax and away from the ears, but she's also not flinging her arm back, which is something that we see a lot. You want to make sure that your shoulders are in line with each other. So if you can't rotate very much, your hand would be forward and it would stay in line with your shoulders. Back leg is nice and straight and strong. And her gaze is going up towards her right fingertips. Big move here. We're going to find Skandasana to the back of the mat. So we're going to bend into that left leg, walk the hands around. Skandasana is a nice low lunge. And we're going to keep the right toes pulling back towards the shin. You want to feel this in that right inner thigh. Really, she's doing balance tonight right now. She's keeping her hands at heart center, but you can also bring your hands to the floor if you need that support. Whatever you'd like to do here, always an option for a half bind or a full bind as well. Just making sure we're opening up that chest. Nice job. So find your Skandasana version. We're going to be here for 3. Warrior 2 and 2. And 1. Launch off that back leg. The right fingertips are going to reach forward. Bend in that front knee. Now notice how her knee is stacked right on top of her ankle. It's not coming forwards or backwards. It's also not going in or out. So when you gaze down at that knee, you want to make sure it's tracking over that second big toe. Her shoulders are relaxed and away from the ears. Her front heel is in line with her back arch. Nice. Strong fingertips here. She's got strong energy shooting out those fingertips. Nice job. Option to stay here or lift that right heel off of the floor and maybe sink a little deeper into that right knee. Option to keep that heel lifted as we flip that front palm, reverse our warrior, reach it up and back. Nice. And then keeping her upper body where it's at, we're going to drop that right heel down, straighten through that right leg and find reverse triangle, Trikonasana. Nice. Let's take both hands and interlace them behind the back. Puff up the chest. And we're going to take a little bit of a different triangle pose. Normally we have the arms separated, but for now we're just going to push the hips towards the back of the mat and extend her body towards the front of the room. So the real key here is to push the hips back and then extend your upper body forward. With her hands bound behind her back, that makes her use her core a little bit more to keep her nice and lifted here. Beautiful. Both legs are nice and straight. Finding nice deep breaths. And from here, we're going to start to bend into that right leg. Option to keep the bind. All 10 toes are going to point forward. Her gaze is going to go down towards her right toes. Lift the body away from the floor slightly. This is a tricky balancing posture. We're going to find our dristi. Our dristi is our gaze. We're going to ground into that right foot, and we're going to start to lift that left leg away from the floor and find a warrior 3. Again, option to keep the hands bound behind the back, or maybe you take your hands in prayer in front of your heart, or even extend your arms forward if you'd really like to try that out and bring your biceps by your ears. Nice job. So find that warrior 3 variation. Kick through that left heel for 3. Standing splits in 2. And 1. Hands are going to come down. That left leg is going to lift up as high as feels good for your body. Kate has great hamstring flexibility, so that left leg can really shoot up nice and high to the sky, but it's okay if your leg is somewhere down towards the middle. We just want to make sure that this left hip stays pointed down and you don't open up the hips here. That's going to be using muscles that we want to try to avoid. Now from your standing splits, we have a couple of options on how you want to exit. You can plant that left foot all the way down, step back into a plank, or from your standing splits, you can actually take your hands down on the ground and hop that right foot back until you find a one-leg plank position. Nice. And then we're going to run through our vinyasa, inhaling into our back bend, exhaling into our downward facing dog. Beautiful. We're going to head straight into our second side. Let's lift that left leg nice and high. Exhale, step it through, low lunge. On her inhale, she's going to find that length, shine the chest forward. On the exhale, she's going to straighten through that left leg, find that pyramid pose, and rock back and forth through this. Inhale, shine the chest forward. Exhale, find that pyramid pose. Find those nice slow breaths here, and use that slow breath to guide you through your movement. If your breath is short and choppy, think about lengthening and slowing it down. A few more deep breaths here. And then at the end of your next exhale, we're going to straighten through that left leg and find a pyramid pose. So you can step that right foot up if you need to, like she did. Plant the hands down on the floor. It's okay if those fingers just touch the ground. Again, always nice to have blocks if you have them. Pulling that left hip back, right hip forward. Relax the head, relax the jaw, unclench the teeth. And find those nice deep breaths here. Breathe into that left hamstring. Nice relaxed upper body. For 2 more deep breaths. And at the end of your second exhale, taking your time to get there, we're going to come back into that low lunge. So we're going to bend that left knee. Let that right leg kind of shimmy out long behind you. All 10 toes point forward. Right hand's going to plant to the inside of that left foot. And that left arm is going to reach nice and high. Rotate with the torso here. And then extend that arm and gaze up towards left fingertips. Back leg is nice and straight and strong. Keep trying to think about pulling that left knee in towards the chest and the chest towards that left knee. Rotating with the torso. And we're coming for that big move, that Skandasana to the back of the mat. So that right knee is going to bend, walk the fingertips around, left toes up towards the sky. Now Kate gets pretty low in her Skandasana, but it's okay if you can stay a little lifted. You want to think about driving that right heel down towards the floor and finding nice deep breaths. If you can find length in the spine, find that here and keep pulling those left toes towards your shin. Nice. Find that stretch in that left inner thigh. We're here for 3. Warrior 2 and 2. And 1, launch off that back leg, bend into that left knee, gaze goes over the left fingertips. Again, check in with that knee, make sure it's stacked right on top of that ankle, back leg is nice and straight and strong. Pull the rib cage in, shoulders are relaxed and away from the ears. And if you did so on the other side, we're going to lift that left knee off of the mat, flip that front palm, reverse our warrior, reach it up and back. Nice. And then drop that left heel down, straighten through that left leg for fine reverse triangle. Think about lengthening through the left side of the body. That hand can slide down that right leg. And then interlace the hands behind the back, puff up the chest, start to pull that right shoulder open, and find your Trikonasana triangle pose with the arms bound here. Yeah, so now you can see from the back view, she's pulling her shoulder blades together, almost like she's really trying to create a fist with her hands here. And she's rotating her body open with her hips pointing towards the back of the mat and a nice straight left leg. And then we're going to come into our funky here. So we're going to bend into that left knee, turn all 10 toes forward. Option to keep that bind, ground into that left leg. Find that dristi and then lift that right foot off of the floor. Kick through that right heel. Bring your chest down towards the ground. Take whatever arm variation you did on the other side here. So if you kept your hands here, keep them here. Maybe they came in prayer. Maybe you reach them forward. Drive through that right heel for 3. Standing splits in 2. And 1, hands come down, reach that right leg nice and high. Relax the head down towards the floor. I didn't mention this on the other side, but if you always want to play around with your balance, you can take your hands and try to grab for your ankle. See if maybe one hand can grab or the other. Nice job, Kate. Take a nice deep breath in. Bring your hands to the floor if they're not already, and we're coming back into our Vinyasa flow. So maybe you step that right foot back. Maybe you take some hops. Plant the hands and step that left foot back. And go through your Vinyasa flow, exhaling down, inhaling into your back bend. Exhale, lift the hips, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And we're here for 5 deep breaths. So if down dog is not a restful posture for you, feel free to drop down onto your knees and find a child's pose like we did earlier. Big toes to touch, knees out nice and wide. Relax the head, relax the jaw. And just find your nice deep breath. So take this opportunity to slow that breathing down. Beautiful. Use that Ujjayi breath. Find your rhythm again. Slow it all down. Beautiful. Let's come into our downward facing dog if you're not already. And from here, we're going to go ahead and extend that right leg nice and high. Exhale, knee to nose, round the spine, hug it in. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, right knee, left tricep. See if you can step that right foot through. Find a fallen star. Lift that left leg up nice and high. Option to take your left piece fingers, your pointer and your middle finger, wrap them around your right big toe, and lift that right leg off of the floor. Very advanced, completely optional. For 3. Back to that plank pose in 2, And one. Let's step that right foot back. Find your plank pose. Your left hand is going to be your foundation as you move into side plank. So you're going to slide on to the edges of the feet. Maybe stack your legs, maybe stagger your stance. Nice. Reach the right fingertips up towards the sky. And then see if you can take that right leg and lift it away from the floor. And we're coming for a low lunge, so that right foot's going to step all the way to the front of the mat. Yeah, hands down by the sides or down by the feet. We're going to take that left hand, plant it to the inside of the right foot. Reach that right arm up nice and high. Beautiful, really rotating with that torso. And then keeping the lower body where it's at. See if you can use your balance to rise all the way up to an Exalted Warrior. That right hand is coming for the left hamstring. The left fingertips are reaching up towards the sky, and the gaze are going to go up towards the left fingertips. If you can do that with your balance. Try to keep a nice bend in that front leg. We're here for 3. We're coming all the way back down to that side twist in 2. And 1. Left hand plants down, right arm reaches up. We're going to gaze down at our left hand, place our left hand about a foot in front of our right foot. Start to walk that left foot up, and we're coming for a revolved half moon. So the left hand stays planted, and that left arm is going to lift, and the right arm is still reaching up towards the sky. We're revolving with our torso, and we're keeping those right toes driving down towards the floor, kicking through that right heel. Now, some of you are going to stay here. This is a very strong posture. Some of you might want to try to bend that left leg, reach back with the right hand, and see if you can grab a bind. And some of you might want to see if you can rise all the way up into Revolve Dancer. Now, the more kick you have in your hand, the more stable you'll be. Beautiful. Reach those left fingertips forward for 3. Coming back to that side lunge twist in 2. And 1. Gently plant that left foot down. Left hand stays to the inside of that right foot. We're going to step that left foot up about a foot. Start to straighten through that right leg and find Revolve Triangle. Now, totally cool if you have a block or anything that you can take your left hand and place it on. Kate's got great hamstring flexibility, so that allows her to keep her back pretty straight. But some of us might need something to help elevate our upper body so that it's not so much pressure on our low back. And then gaze is going to go up towards the right fingertips. Nice. Feeling that stretch on the outer thigh here. Nice deep breaths, breathing here. This is a very intense stretch. For 3, low lunge in 2, and 1. Right hand's going to come down, bend into the right knee, extend that left leg out nice and long. We're going to take both hands. Actually, let's drop that left knee down onto the mat. And we're going to straighten through our right leg and find half splits. Some of you might want to do full splits if you'd like and extend both legs out nice and long, but half splits is a perfectly acceptable place to be. So notice how her hips are going slightly behind her knee. She's going to slide her right foot forward just a little bit and point those toes back up. Now her hips are stacked perfectly on top of that knee, and that's really going to drive through that right hamstring. That's the stretch that you want. When we sit our hips back, we're not doing too much here. Nice. Keep thinking about pulling that right hip back, left hip forward. Yes, breathing here. Relax the head, relax the jaw. Beautiful. Find those nice deep breaths. We've been doing a lot of hip opening today. And on your next exhale, taking your time together, we're going to bend into that right leg. Keep that left knee down on the ground. Both hands are going to come to the inside of that right foot, and we're going to scooch our right foot towards the right side of the mat. This is called Lizard Pose. So we want to keep the hands down. Now, if you want to make it active and keep working really hard, you can tuck the left toes under and lift the left knee off the mat. If you want to kind of enjoy this stretch a little bit, untuck the toes, relax that knee down on the mat. Make sure that this right knee isn't going past the ankle, and if it is, you're going to slide that right foot forward, but Kate looks great here. Now, option to stay up on the hands, so you can always come down onto the elbows if that's in your flexibility. Relax the head and breathe here. We're opening up through that right adductor and hamstring and hips. Breathing here. Option to stay here, or you're going to take your left hand, place it down on the floor. Your right arm is going to, or your right hand, sorry, is going to take it onto that right knee, gentle push away. Maybe you stay here in this crooked monkey. Notice how she came onto the knife edge of that right foot. And then we can bend that left leg if you'd like. Reach back with the right hand and see if you can grab a bind. Yes, gently pull that left heel towards the glute. Shine the chest open. Nice deep breath in. And on your exhale, let's release that left foot down if you have it. Both hands to the inside of that right foot. We're going to tuck the left toes under, lift the left knee off of the mat, and we're coming for a Malasana yogi squat. So we're going to step that left foot to the outside of our left hand and sink it down nice and low. Yeah, Kate's going to face forward so that you can see her sitting up nice and tall. She's using her elbows to push her knees out, and she's standing up nice and tall. If this is challenging for you, you can always sit on a block, and it's okay if your heels are lifted, because sometimes if you have tight calves, it's difficult for those heels to melt down to the floor. But as long as you can sit up nice and tall, that's what we're looking for here. And then from here, we're going to come all the way down onto our back. So you're just going to gently make your way down onto your booty and lower all the way back down onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice little break here. This is the first time we've wound up on our back, so let those shoulders and head and neck and chest relax for a little bit. Give yourself a nice little squeeze, pull the knees in towards the chest. And we're going to get into some fun core. So we're going to keep that right leg in. Kate's so excited. Let that left foot stay planted on the ground and bend that left leg. Extend the right leg all the way up towards the sky. Reach your fingertips towards the sky, interlace the fingers, release the pointer and the thumb like your imaginary little water gun. On your inhale, you're going to lay back down. On your exhale, you're going to rise all the way up into a one-leg V-sit. Reach for those toes. Nice. Inhale, lower down. Look how happy she is. Exhale, lift up, reach for those toes. And then lower all the way down. Again, lift up. Now, if you're having trouble with this, that left leg can extend a little longer, and it might make it a little bit easier. Roll it back down. Yeah, and if you really want to challenge yourself, you could lay that whole left leg down. Kate's looking at me like I'm crazy. Rise up. Find that one leg V-sit one more time. Lower down. Rise all the way back up and hold here. So reach up. Take that left hand on the left hip. Take your right peace fingers, grab for your right big toe, and we're going to pull that foot out towards the side. She doesn't have very much room, but see how far you can take that foot all the way out. Sitting up nice and tall here. Beautiful. For 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way back down. Hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice little break here. Maybe gently rock from side to side. And we're going to go immediately into our second side. Yay. Drop that right leg down. Extend that left leg nice and long. Reach for those toes, interlace the fingers, release the pointer and the thumb. Take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, rise up, reach up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, rise up. Use that exhale to drive you up. Lower all the way down. Exhale, crunch up, lift up. Nice job. I know you're doing great. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, rise up. Guys, we've got one more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift up and hold here. Take your right hand on your right hip. Take your left peace fingers. Grab for that big toe. Let's take it out towards the side. Nice. Beautiful. Sit up nice and tall. Now, if you can't grab for your toes, there's always the calf and the ankle. All those are an option. And then let's go ahead, bring the knees in now. I'm going to have you sit facing me, Kate, so that they can see this next one here. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees out nice and wide. Take your peace fingers and grab for your big toes. Now, maybe you stay here and you just use this as a nice stretch. Push the chest in between the shoulders. Now, some of you might want to roll onto your sit bones and see if you can lift your heels off of the floor. And some of you might try to straighten through one leg first, maybe another, and some of you might try to find a full straddle, kicking into those toes. Nice job. If you roll backwards, that's totally cool. Keep that chest nice and lifted for 3, 2, 1. Let's bring the feet together, cross the ankles. We're going to step it all the way back into a child's pose. Beautiful job. Knees apart, big toes to touch. Take this opportunity to slow that breathing down. Nice work. Relax the head, relax the jaw. Find those nice deep breaths, because we are going to head into our second side of that. We're here for 2 more deep breaths, so whenever you're ready, take your time. We'll all meet in that down dog. Some of you love your vinyasas, love your push-up and your back bend, so optional vinyasa flow if you'd like. Moving through that vinyasa, elbows close to the sides. Great. Lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Let's all meet in down dog. Lift that tailbone nice and high. We're going to go ahead, lift that left leg nice and high. Exhale, knee to nose, round the spine, hug it in. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fallen star. We're going to kick that left foot out. Reach that right arm nice and high. If you went for that bind, you're going to take your right peace fingers, grab for that left big toe, and see if you can lift that foot away from the floor. Nice job with that limited space. Beautiful. 3, plank pose in 2, and 1. Step that left foot back to join the right. This time we're coming for Vashisthasana, side plank with the right hand as our foundation. Reach that left arm nice and high. Stack the shoulders in line with each other, and then see if you can lift that left foot away from the floor and step it all the way to the front of the mat. Find a low lunge. Nice job. Take that right hand to the inside of that left foot and lift that left arm nice and high. Find your side lunge or your twisted lunge. This is reverse side angle, right, Kate? That's what she told me. And then we're going to use our balance here as we come all the way into our Exalted Warrior. So that right hand is coming for that left hand, or no, the left hand is coming for the right hamstring, and the right arm is going to reach nice and high, and then her gaze is going to go up towards the right fingertips. Nice bend in that front knee, nice strong straight back leg for 3. Back to that twisted lunge in 2. And 1, take that right hand down, lift that left arm nice and high. We're going to start to straighten, nope, just kidding. We're going to take that right hand and plant it in front of the left foot. Start to kick that right foot into the air. Find your revolved half moon. She's rotating with her torso here, so that right leg is lifted, but the right hand is down, and we're twisting through. And if you did so on the other side, we're going to bend that right leg here, reach back with the left hand. Try to grab that bind. Kick into that hand and see if you can start to maybe rise up. Reach the fingertips towards the front of the room. Beautiful. We're here for 3. Find that drishti, find that concentration. It's totally cool if you're in that half moon. For 2, coming back to that side twist in 1. Go ahead, gently plant that foot all the way down. Reach that left arm nice and high, and now we're coming in for our Revolve Triangle. We're going to step that right foot up a little bit, straighten through that left leg, and twist with the torso here. Really breathe into the outside of that left hip, stepping that right foot up as much as you need to make sure it's flat on the ground. Notice how both Kate's heels are down into the floor. Find those nice deep breaths. Breathing here. For 3. Low lunge in 2. And 1, bring that left hand down, bend into that left knee, extend that right leg out nice and long, and then we're going to plant that, go ahead, plant that right knee down, untuck the right toes, straighten through that left leg and find your half splits. Again, making sure that that knee and that hip on the right side are in line with each other, and bowing the head forward. You can even slide your left foot forward a little bit more here, Kate. Yeah. Then relax the head, relax the jaw. Keep pulling the left toes back towards the forehead. And breathe here. Nice, deep, full breaths. If you took full splits on the other side, you can move into that here. Breathe nice, deep breaths into that left hamstring. We're here for a few more deep breaths. And at the end of your next exhale, taking your time to get there, we're going to go ahead and bend into that left leg. Bring both hands to the inside of that left foot, so scooch that left foot out a little bit. We're going to come into our lizard pose. So if you stayed up on the hands on the other side, you're going to stay up on the hands. If you drop down onto the elbows, you're going to do that here. Find those nice deep breaths. Now we're working into the deep hip muscles here. Relax the head, relax the jaw, unclench the teeth. Find those nice deep breaths. Trying to pull that left knee in towards the chest, and if you did so on the other side, we're going to take that right hand down to the floor. The left hand is going to gently push that left knee away so that we come onto the knife edge of that left foot. And then maybe if you did so on the other side and it feels okay on your knee, you're going to bend that right leg, reach back with the left hand and find that grip. Gaze over the left shoulder. For 3, 2, And 1. Go ahead, release that foot, bring both hands down, tuck the right toes under, lift the right knee off the mat. We're coming back for that Malasana Yogi squat. You can stay facing that direction, Kate. Sit the hips down nice and low. Now we're heading into a Vinyasa flow here, but I always like to give the option of a arm balance. So if Bakasana, Crow Pose, is in your practice, you can plant your hands, keep your elbows nice and tightly in like Chaturanga arms. You're going to lift your knees up onto the triceps. Now some people like to hug the knees around the triceps, and while that uses a lot of leg strength, we want to engage our core. So try to get those knees on the tricep and then shift your weight forward. Use your core here and then try to lift maybe one toe off the mat and the other. Notice that her gaze is looking straight down at something to keep her drishti. And then maybe if you have that crow pose, you can shoot it all the way back into a plank position from there. No pressure. Take that Vinyasa flow. Let's end in a down dog for one nice deep breath in, and on your exhale, come down into your plank pose and lower all the way down onto your belly. Untuck the toes. Let's bring the hands down by the sides, palms facing up, left ear on the floor, gaze over to the right. And take this opportunity to relax. If this is not comfortable for your neck, you can also take your hands, stack one on top of the other, and rest your forehead down on the floor, yes. But if you can, see if you can take that left ear to the mat, because it'll give you a nice little neck stretch that we all need. Nice deep breaths here. Find the nice deep breath, slow it down. And on your next exhale, let's bring the forehead down to the mat. We're going to take our palms, face them down towards the ground, keep them next to our arms like little airplane wings. We're going to zip up the legs so that the inner thighs and the ankles are as close together to touch. On the inhale, lift the chest and shoulders away from the floor. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then lift the legs up nice and high. Notice her knees even come off of the floor. And then finally, hands lift up, but they're staying lower than the hips. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the shoulders for 3, 2, 1, lower all the way down, gaze goes in the opposite direction, hands up by the ceiling. Let those legs kind of relax for a little bit, no longer needing to hold those inner thighs together. And let's go ahead and take our feet hip width distance wide, or wider, maybe mat width distance wide, and bend the knees and just kind of windshield wiper our legs from side to side. Just let them fall from one side to the other. And the next time they come through center, we're going to hold them there. Pull those heels towards your glutes. Bring your forehead to the mat. Reach your hands back and see if you can grab for your ankles. Now, if this isn't possible and you can't reach for your ankles, I still want you to bend the feet and reach back with your hands, and one day you're actually going to be able to reach for those feet, but we need to build those muscles that are going to help you get there. So here she is. She's got her hands on her ankles. Take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, kick into your hands. Lift the chest away from the floor. Lift the knees off the floor if you can. Again, engaging the booty, engaging the shoulder blades for 3. Her gaze is slightly down towards the floor. She's not looking up to protect that neck for 3, 2, 1. Let's lower all the way down onto the mat. Arms are going to go out like wings. Gaze is going to go to the right. We're going to take the right hand underneath the right shoulder. We're going to take that take the right hand, push the floor away, and then, yes, Kate, take that right leg up and over. So this is a spinal twist here. Now notice that her hand is still pushed down on the floor, this left hand, so she can get a nice shoulder stretch. The right toes are gently resting down onto the ground. The more you kind of pull this foot back, the more you're going to feel that in your hip flexor. Her head is relaxed. It's down on the ground, and she's taking nice deep breaths. Now your foot doesn't have to get all the way back like this. It could be a little less. But we just want to feel a nice little rotation in the spine here and an opening in this shoulder. Nice, beautiful. Slow your breathing down. And then let's go ahead, switch it out. Bring that right leg down. Right arm goes out like a wing, or maybe you cactus the arm if you have no space. Take that left hand underneath the left shoulder. Start to push that floor away. Take the left leg up and over. Plant it down on the ground behind you. Nice, opening it up. Relax the head, relax the jaw. Same thing here. She's got that opening through that left hip this time. Nice deep breaths. One more deep inhale. And on the exhale, lower all the way back down onto the belly. Take the hands underneath the shoulders. Let's come all the way into our downward facing dog, optional Vinyasa flow for those of you who will really dig that push-up. Find your nice deep breaths here. Take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, walk your hands to the back of the mat. I'm just kidding. Walk your hands back to the front of the mat. We're going to go ahead and lift that right leg nice and high. 3-leg down dog. Exhale, low lunge. Step that right foot through. Inhale, rise up, crescent warrior. And on the exhale, we're going to sweep the arms behind us, but hinge forward towards the hips. Yeah. Now we're going to take our right hand and we're going to reach it towards the front of the room. Our left piece fingers are coming for the left big toe. So she's going to ground into that right leg, and she's going to step that left foot all the way up, maybe into a 1-leg Tadasana first. Her left piece fingers are coming for that left big toe. Now notice here, maybe this is as far as this pose goes for you. Maybe you grab onto your ankle, or maybe you just hug your knee into your chest. All those are totally acceptable, but if you have your big toe, you can start to extend that leg out nice and long in front of you. Again, Kate's got great hamstring flexibility, so it's okay if that knee stays bent and you just hug it in like that. And then you're going to pull it out to the side. So if you have that knee, you're just going to pull that knee out towards the side. If you have the big toe, you're going to extend that leg nice and long in front of you. Yeah, nice job. Beautiful. From here, we're going to bring that knee back to center, hug it in towards the chest. And then we're going to kick that left leg behind us. Grab for the inside of that left foot. Take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, kick into your hand and find your dancer pose. So the more kick you have into that hand, the more stable you'll be. Notice how her chest is coming parallel to the floor. I understand not everybody is going to look like that. Some of you might even look exactly like our starting point. We're here for 3. Low lunge in 2. And 1. Gently drop that left foot all the way to the back of the mat. We're going to take that right leg, extend it up nice and high, 3-leg down dog, kick it up, and then exhale, half pigeon. That right knee is going to come behind the right wrist, drop the hips down, slide that left leg out, puff up the chest before lowering all the way down into your sleepy pigeon. Bring your chest down towards the floor, reach those fingertips forward, and breathe here. Find those nice deep breaths, slow your breathing down after that very difficult standing balance that we just did. Pigeon is great for opening up the hips. When we have tight piriformis, if we do a lot of sitting, all that stuff, this is great for that stretch. Opening up the hips. We hold a lot of tension there. So just notice what comes up for you as you breathe through this. Option to stay here in this pigeon pose. If you're working on a mermaid pose, you can walk your hands underneath your shoulders. You can bend your left leg, reach for the inside of your left foot with your left hand, making sure you're grabbing for that arch side here. That's very important. Drop that left hip down. One day maybe your foot comes into that elbow crease, no pressure for it to get there. And then maybe you can find a full mermaid expression, linking the fingers, reaching the arms up overhead. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and bring the hands back down onto the ground. Tuck the left toes under, lift that right leg nice and high. Maybe you take some circles with that leg. If a wild thing is in your practice, you can flip your dog, bringing that right leg behind the left, lifting the hips up. Beautiful. And we'll all meet in a downward facing dog, however you would like to arrive. Take a few deep breaths here before we move into our second final standing balancing side. Let's lift that left leg nice and high. Exhale, step it through, low lunge. Inhale, crescent warrior. Exhale, swing the arms back, hinge forward from the hips. Now her left hand is going to come onto her left hip, and her right hand, did I have you reach forward on the other side? We're going to reach it forward. Now your right piece fingers are coming for the right big toe, so she's going to ground into that left foot, kick that right knee up to hip height, and see if she can grab for her right big toes with her piece fingers, her pointer and her middle finger. Option again here to just grab onto that knee and hug it into the chest. Find your drishti, find your gaze, and maybe you can extend that leg out nice and long in front of you. Whether you have your knee or your toes, you're going to take that leg towards the right side of the room. Beautiful. For 3, 2. And then let's bring that right knee back in. We're going to start to kick it out nice and long behind us as we move into our dancer pose. Keep using your dristi here, and then kick into that hand. Hinge forward. Find that full dancer expression. Reach the left fingertips forward. Nice job. We're here for 3. Keep kicking. For 2. And low lunge. Drop that right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Bring the hands down onto the floor. Lift that left leg nice and high. 3-leg down dog. And we're coming in for our half pigeon. Bring that left knee behind the left wrist. Drop the hips down. Untuck those right toes. Puff up the chest and then lower down into your sleepy pigeon. Relax the head. Relax the jaw. Find those nice deep breaths here. A lot of the tension that we hold in our body is just due to our emotional or physical or mental stress, not so much our physical stress. I mean, that is definitely a part of it, but someone told me one time that when you are unconscious, like say you go under for surgery, your body is so relaxed that you have flexibility that you didn't really know that you had. So in our everyday conscious life, we tend to lock things up and hold things in, and it prevents us from getting deeper in our stretches. So when we take nice deep breaths, we actually tell our mind and our body that we're trying to be relaxed, and it allows us to get deeper into our stretches, and it helps us to release some of that emotional stress that we hold in our body. So just think about that when you're using your breath. You really are using your breath to release that tension. If you stayed in pigeon on the other side, we're going to hang out here. If you moved into a mermaid pose, you're going to start to walk up onto the hands. Bend that right leg. Reach back with the right hand. Grab for the inside of that foot. Pull that foot in towards the elbow. Shine the chest open. And find whatever expression you did on the other side here to balance it out. Nice job. One more deep breath in. And on your exhale, let's release the hands down onto the floor. Tuck the right toes under. Lift the right knee off of the mat. Extend that left leg nice and high. And take whatever post-pigeon ritual you did on the other side here. Nice. Maybe it's just those hip circles. Maybe it's a wild thing. And we'll come back into our down dog. Then we're going to go ahead and place the knees down onto the mat. And we're going to have a seat onto our heels. Now we want our knees to be about hip-width distance wide. Interlace the hands behind the back and puff up the chest. Shine that chest open. Take a nice little shoulder stretch here. And then see if you can rise up onto your knees. Stack the hips on top of the knees. You can stay here, and this can be your camel pose. This is a great chest opener. If you want to come onto your, or tuck your toes under, that'll give you more capabilities of reaching your ankles for our camel pose, which is where we're headed. So hands are going to come to your imaginary jean pockets on your low back. And you're going to start to push the hips forward. Now notice she's not throwing her head back. She's keeping her chin slightly tucked, and she's shining her chest up towards the sky. And when you feel like you can't go anymore, maybe you take your hand and see if you can grab for an ankle, and maybe the other ankle. And if you can do that, then you can start to let your head fall to the back. Yeah, take a nice deep cleansing breath in through the nose, open the mouth, and exhale everything out. Beautiful. Notice she's still pushing those hips forward. Beautiful. Let's take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, hands come back to the low back. And safely rise all the way back up. We're going to untuck the toes, sit the hips back down onto the heels. And we're going to take a little counter stretch. So let's go ahead and take our hands on our heels. And if you can't reach for your heels right now, it's okay if they come underneath your bum. The crown of her head is going to come right down in front of the knees. And then she's going to lift her hips up while grabbing onto her heels. This is called rabbit's pose. Now, things that we normally see wrong is that people put too much pressure in their head. You really want to lengthen through your arms, but keep all your weight down into your booty and your knees. This is great for the upper back. Take a nice deep breath in, and on your exhale, let's lower those hips down. We're going to make our way onto our back, so just scoot your hips to one side, extend your legs out nice and long in front of you, and lower all the way down onto your back. Hug your knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug. You earned it. Let's keep that right knee in. Extend that left leg out nice and long. Really hug that right knee in towards the armpit. Compress the organs here, helping to get nice, fresh, oxygenated blood into those intestines. We're going to take the right arm and make it a little cactus arm, 90 degrees. And the left hand is going to help to guide that right knee across the body. It's okay here if that right knee doesn't touch the ground. Maybe it finds a block or maybe it just hovers. It's okay if that right hip stays lifted, but her left shoulder stays planted on the ground as she finds her twist here, and her gaze is going to go over the left fingertips. Some of you, if you have that hamstring flexibility, might even straighten through your right leg and grab a hold of that right foot. Totally optional. So we're just going to breathe here. Every exhale, try to twist a little bit deeper. One more deep breath in. And on your exhale, let's hug the knees back into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Extend that right leg out nice and long. Hug that left knee in towards the armpit. Right arm or left arm goes out like a wing. Right hand guides that left knee across the body. I like to cactus my arm just because it gives me a little bit more of a shoulder stretch. Her gaze goes over the left fingertips. Nice. Notice her left shoulder is on the ground. It's not hovering. That's going to cause some problems here. So try to get that twist from the torso. Beautiful. Nice deep breaths. We're slowing down our practice. One more deep breath in. And on the exhale, hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Extend the legs all the way up towards the ceiling, legs up the wall. Option to stay here, option to find a happy baby, or option to take your hands down by your sides. Start to push the floor away and come into a plow pose. So plow pose is stacking the hips on top of the shoulders, and the toes are going to go down towards the floor or onto some props, whatever you got going on. Breathe here. If you're in your plow pose, maybe you take your hands to your low back, squeeze your elbows towards each other, and maybe you extend your legs up towards the sky and come into a shoulder stand. Yeah, nice. Notice that her legs are in line with each other. No pressure on the neck and shoulders. If you feel any pinching or pain, come out of it. And when you're ready, we're going to lower down and find a happy baby. So maybe as those feet pass over your head, you grab for the outside of them. Hug the knees in towards the armpit. Drive the tailbone down towards the floor. Maybe straightening into one leg and the other, and ignite your inner child here. If there's any remaining posture that you need to do to complete your practice, please feel free to go there. If you're ready to be guided into your final Shavasana, you're going to hug the knees into the chest. And give yourself a nice big hug. Bring your forehead to the knees. Maybe give yourself a smile. Exhale, let the legs out nice and long, arms down by the sides, and find your final resting posture. Relax the feet, the ankles, the knees, the shoulders, the hips, the fingertips. Relax the chin, the jaw, unclench the teeth. Let all expression melt off of your face. And remember that this is the most important part of your practice, so please take this time to find this stillness. Hang out here for as long as you need. This space is always here for you when you feel stressed or anxious. It is where you can go to find your breath, to help guide you back into the relaxation that we so desperately need right now in our lives. Keep this energy with you throughout the day. Be kind to others, but most importantly, be kind to yourself. And namaste, yogis.